Okay, so today we worked on different types of angles and then followed up with this worksheet. Originally, there was a Delta Math assignment that was included, but after having students work on this for a while, I decided to just drop it down to this. So the main part of today was taking these notes. So if you were absent today, today is September 20th, 2021, pause the screen now and make sure you write down these different types of angles, or you can watch this and listen to the explanation too. So first, vertical angles. These are opposite angles formed when two lines cross, and they are always congruent. So you can see here, two lines crossing here. These two angles at the sides would be vertical angles. They would be the same measurement. Same goes for this angle and this angle. Adjacent angles, these are angles which share a side or a straight line. And it's not really a rule, but most of the time these angles will be complementary or supplementary. They will form 180 degrees. In this case, this angle here and this angle here would be adjacent because they share this line separating them. Corresponding angles. Whenever you have two parallel lines, I badly misspelled parallel there, two parallel lines that are bisected or cut by one line forms identical angles. So this angle right here and this angle right here, since these two lines are parallel and this line is crossing at the same angle, these two angles would be identical because they correspond to the same part of each other. The next two are alternate interior angles, and these are angles on the inside of parallel bisected lines on opposite sides. So you can see these two angles are on the inside of these two parallel lines, and they are on alternate sides. So this one's on the left side of the bisecting line, this one is on the other side of the bisecting line. But both of them are on the inside of these parallel lines. And the last kind are alternate exterior angles, and these are more or less the exact same as interior angles. It's two parallel lines bisected by a single line, and these two exterior angles on the outside would be congruent. So these were the five that we took notes on. The key thing is that you need to be able to recognize when an angle is one of them, not so much remember the nitty-gritty details of an alternate interior angle and its definition. So pause the video now if you need to write that down. But the homework tonight follows this. Now, let's see. For this one, for the puzzle piece at least, it wants you to cross out letters above for each correct answers. Then when you finish, write the remaining letters in the spaces at the bottom. So for example, number one, the sum of angles which form 180 degrees, those angles would be supplementary. So that would be here, so I'll cross it out. And when I get done, OP is not going to be written down here. Only the letters that are not crossed out will go down there. But 1 through 4, you could just use the notes to work on those. And then for these ones down here, there were a few we did in class, and I'm going to talk about them right now. So one of them was number 5, and this one was asking for the measurement of angle EGH. So EGH, it is this red angle right here. And what I pointed out to the class is that this entire shape, this blue angle, would be 180 degrees. And we already know part of it because these two angles are adjacent and they are supplementary. These two angles here and here should add together to get 180 degrees. So in reality, all I have to do is 180 minus 135 to get my answer for number 5. And the answer would be 45, because I would have borrowed and gone through all of that. So number 5 was 45, so I look for 45 down at the bottom, right here, and cross it out. And number 6 as well, I did. Now number 6, we were talking about adjacent angles again. We know that this angle over here is 90 degrees only because its adjacent angle was 90 degrees. So with that information, when it asks us what XWY was, so XWY, we know that we have a total of 90 degrees and we have to subtract 29 degrees. So when I do that subtraction, we end up with 61. So number 6, we got 61 degrees from that. Now these two I'm going to leave blank in case you are watching this at home, and just to help with the homework. You are still going to need to do some of this on your own. But let's have a look at number 9 and number 10. So number 9, it's asking about angle STR. So that's S, T, and R. And this is what we would call a vertical angle. From our notes, these are two lines that are crossing, and we have angles on opposite sides. Therefore, these are both 98 degrees. So number 9, we'll be crossing that out. Number 10, now that we have these two angles, it'd be pretty easy to figure out what one of these open angles would actually be. Just a little bit of subtraction, kind of like what we did with number 5. I also helped some students with 13 and 14. Starting with 13, YOU, we have YOU. So we have this section right here. And at first it's a little hard to tell, but if you turn your paper slightly, you can see that this XU is one straight line, meaning that once again we have one angle right here that will form 180 degrees if I only had this section and this section. So number 13 is exactly the same as number 5. It's just going to require a bit of subtraction. And once you do that, number 14, which is UOV, so UOV would be down here, would be a lot easier once I find this angle, which I'm going to let you know this angle right here will be the same as this because they are vertical angles. Once you have that blue angle over here, you're going to have 180 degrees formed by this section. So you would have to take 180 degrees minus whatever this is, minus 80, and that would leave you with what angle O is going to be. Okay? And that's all the help I gave the students who asked for help on that question in class as well. The next ones that we did together in class was, I think we had done numbers 16 and 17. I don't think we did number 15 together. But number 16, we knew that this whole section would add up to 90 degrees. So we know it's going to be 90 degrees, but we have no idea what these angles would actually measure. So we had to create a formula. Since we know it will equal 90 degrees, we know 90 degrees will equal x plus x minus 16. These are the two angles being added together. We know that it has to equal 90 degrees. From here, we started simplifying. We can combine those two x's together so that we have 90 equals 2x minus 16. We then know that we have to subtract, or we have to isolate the variable by adding 16 to both sides. So negative 16 plus 16 gets canceled out. 90 plus 16 gives me 106. And then we simply divide both sides by 2x, or both sides by 2. And that's going to leave me with what my answer would be, 106 divided by 2. Now, I just don't have enough room to write the answer here, but you get the point for number 16. 17, same thing. All we are doing is we're figuring out what this angle is supposed to be, and then adding those two amounts to get it equal to it. So, just so that I have a little bit more space to write, I'm going to cover it up with a sticky note. So, number 17, those two would add together to get 180 degrees, as we can see. So 180 degrees is equal to x plus 3x minus 20. Now, first and foremost, we should go ahead and combine my x's. So 180 would equal 4x minus 20, because x plus 3x. Now that we're here, we can go ahead and get my x, or get the variable, all by itself. The opposite of subtracting 20 would be adding 20, so that's what we will do to both sides. We'll cancel on that side, and we are left with 200 equals 4x. Finally, the last step, divide both sides by 4 to isolate 4x. And 200 divided by 4 would give me 50. And that's what we would get for number 17. And number 18, I'm going to let you know right now, is solved exactly the same way that number 17 was. You need to add those together and have them equal to 180. As a matter of fact, number 15 is also going to be solved that same way, because these would add together to get 180. But that is all the help that I gave students in class for this. So that's going to be it. If you have questions on this, please make sure you are ready to ask them when we get to class, and I hope this helped.